Hey YouTube, Ed Munster here. Wanted to shoot a quick video for you guys just to show a planted tank. Am going through an ick issue right now. Little upset about that. Easily understandable, I'm sure, for anybody that's gone through this in the past. But just wanted to shoot a quick video. Again, a planted tank. I do have some Amazon sword here, some smaller ones. I have some dwarf hairgrass, some S repens, as well as some Java moss on the driftwood here, and over here a little bit harder to tell here as well. So with the ick, I have been steadily increasing the temperature. It's currently at about 81 degrees. Slowly working my way up to about 84 is what my target is. I may go up as high as 86, but again, just want to be careful of the fish. Um, I am not adding any aquarium salt at this time. I do understand or have been reading that it could be detrimental to some of the plant life in the tank. So not adding it at this time. What I've been using is API Super Ick Cure. I do know that it is going to stain some of the tank, and you can already tell here on the sides it is staining the glue. I do have an under gravel filter, so I do have some plugs in some of those. It has stained those already. It's very easily visible. Sorry you can't see it in this video, but very clearly seen on the glue on both of the sides. Nonetheless, though, I'm hoping that's going to save the fish. I do have the air stones out of the tubes. You can tell it's one's here and one's over here, and also have them turned up, trying to create a little bit more air so that the fish have more oxygen to breathe. If you understand the life cycle of the ick, it is something that does attach to the gills, can make them a little bit harder to breathe, and that's something, early warning signs is them breathing near the top of the water or near the air stones. So the fish, in addition, the warmer water won't hold quite as much oxygen, so it is advised to kind of increase the air bubbles inside the tank. So let's see what else. So current fish in here, I have lost probably about half of my fish at this point. I do have primarily swordtails in the tank, some orange swordtails, as well as, you can see her on the side, just a little gray swordtail. She was pregnant. She did have a couple of fry. I've only been able to find a few at the bottom, not very many. They've been in there for a few days, so I'm hoping that at this point they're going to survive. But we're only about 24 to 30, about 24 hours into the cure right now, so a little upset. It is clearly noticeable that these fish do have ick on them, both on their tails as well as their bodies. So again, just aggravating. Let's see. It is, it's something that I've been reading on reviews on Amazon and looking up the API Super Ick Cure, is that people don't really understand the life cycle of ick, and I believe that is very important to treating ick. You need to understand that you're not treating the fish, but you are treating the tank. You cannot kill the ick when it is on the fish. It does create a cyst around itself, and it is impenetrable at that point. It does have 3 different life cycles, and it's important to understand that all 3 of those life cycles are going on at the same time, and only during 2 of those life cycles is the ick able to be killed. So I think it is important to know that and to understand. And I think it is also important to raise the temperature of your tank to make sure that you take care of it in a timely manner, so you don't keep reinfecting your fish. I did also take out the carbon filter that I do have in my overhead filter. And as you can see too, the water, it's not quite that much lower, but some people will go ahead and lower their water a little bit so that the water will have a longer ways to fall in, creating more oxygen and bubbles in the water as well, so just to help those fish out. So The carbon itself in the filter is going to go ahead and remove some of the beneficial aspects to the API Super Ick Cure. So maybe something you want to go ahead and do as well. It is important to note that the ick, if you're going to be using nets, make sure you're not cross-contaminating tanks. I only have the one tank. I am going to be getting another 10-gallon tank so that I can have a quarantine tank. So when I do buy fish from the store, I can put them inside the quarantine tank for a few days, possibly weeks, just to make sure that they don't have any diseases or anything like that prior to adding them to my tank. Because again, this is frustrating. If you've ever had to go through this, you will definitely know. So it is advised to have a smaller or any sort of quarantine tank. Don't be crossing contamination. So nets, any tubing that you might be using for vacuuming out the tank or anything like that. Make sure that if you are using it in different tanks, that's completely dried prior to using it in another tank, so that the ick is completely killed. You don't. That worst case scenario, you're going to have 2 tanks contaminated. So I hope that this answers a few questions. I don't typically shoot these kind of videos. I want to make sure that this was something that was out there. I will shoot another video just to follow up on this. I think it's a great review for this product for people to know out there, because I haven't seen a very in-depth product review. I am following the directions to the T, so I have not, in the 24 hours I've had this in there, I've not done any water changes to this point. I know that may be highly unadvisable by some people. I've seen as much as 50% water changes on a daily basis recommended by some people. But the back of the directions on this bottle does say to do a 25% water change after 48 hours, and then to re-administer the proper dosage per your tank and the size again at that point. It does tell you to raise the temperature of the water. So again, I'll let you guys know where I'm at. That's it at this point. Again, this is Ed Munster. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.